Hey, Nancy, right?
That's right, Nancy Drew.
Amateur detective, huh? Ever thought about becoming a real detective? You know, like me?
I don't know. Do you like what you do?
I love it. You, heard about those bank robberies I solved, right?
Yes, I sure did.
Baffling case. Two-man team at 17 banks in 3 states in 5 days? FBI had no idea who the perps were. But after forcing their vehicle to a stop, confronting them, despite the fact that they were armed and giving chase, I single-handedly made the collar.
I heard all they had was a plastic knife from a carry-out chicken place.
You heard wrong. You see, Nancy, when somebody does something really remarkable in this country, the first thing everybody else does is try to tear them down. Reporters, late-night comedians, even some of my fellow officers, all have been spreading vicious lies about me. Why? Because they've never done anything remarkable in their sorry little lives, and they're jealous. Anyway, you should look around in here. Lots of interesting stuff. This was Jake's private car, you know.
I understand that you found something on the floor in the dining car.
Yeah, at first I thought it was an old coin, but it turned out to be some kind of slug.
Where do you think it came from?
Probably been lying there for 100 years. May have served a purpose back then, but now, worthless.
May I see it?
Sure, in fact, here, keep it. Wear it around your neck or something. That way when people ask you where you got it, you can tell them Tino Balducci gave it to you. The Tino Balducci.
Oh, thank you.
What else can I do for you?
So, what do you think happened to Lori?
Well, she could have been kidnapped, she could have been tossed off the train, she could be hiding from us. But I obviously won't know which until I've gathered all the facts.
So, you're gathering facts?
Of course, it may not look it because that's my style. I'm a low-key kind of guy. But hey, don't worry. I'll know the facts when I know the facts. The truth can't be rushed, you know.
Have you had a chance to talk to Charlena Purcell?
Now, why would I want to do a thing like that?
You don't like her?
I can't stand those sappy books she writes. And seeing as I said as much during an interview on national TV once, it's a pretty safe bet she doesn't like me.
Have you talked to John Gray?
The ghost guy? Total quack. Only reason I talked to him would be to arrest him for fraud.
Hope I didn't take up too much of your time.
Anything for a fellow detective.
Wonder what Jake used this for. Another gemstone. Camille with Hager Anderson and Chantilly Hildegard. Looks like an old-fashioned cigar box. Wonder why it's locked. And what does AG mean? JH. For Jake Hurley, obviously. Must be Jake's insignia. Another gemstone. Eliza Sandberger. An old scale. Strange. It seems to be built into the wall. It's locked. Those symbols look like the ones I saw in that sampler. That square and that duck look very familiar. Silver. What do all those colors have to do with silver? Looks like to make this thing, whatever it is, I'm going to need a spyglass, a pickaxe, and a lamp. Citrine, amethyst, zircon, those are all gemstones, I think. I need a pickaxe. If I had a spyglass, I'd put it right here. If I had a lamp, this is where I'd put it. According to that diagram I found, those 6 gemstones are supposed to go in these 6 holders, but I have no idea which one goes where. Wonder what's supposed to go here. Looks like I need to enter 8 letters into this thing. The question is, which 8 letters? Lori?
Oh my gosh! I never thought you'd be the one to find me. No offense. Nadine?
Nancy. Nancy Drew.
Well, as you can see, I wasn't really spirited away by ghosts or anything. That bookshelf in the dining car, you step on this thing in the floor in there, and it slides open. I practiced disappearing for weeks.
Was anyone else in on the trick?
Just the engineer, and all he did was keep his mouth shut. See, here's the deal. My dad wound up with this train when he bought out Noram Shipping. They'd been storing it in this old warehouse outside St. Louis for so long that everybody had just forgotten about it. Anyway, after mass begging on my part, Dad had the train restored to working condition and got me an engineer and track permits and all that other stuff until finally, here we are, on our way to find out what happened to Jake Hurley.
Why do you need a train to find out what happened to him?
Well, see, I was one of the first people in 100 years to set foot on this train, okay? Everything was just the way it was when Jake disappeared. Except I also found this. It's a letter that Jake wrote in 1901 to his niece back east. He was real paranoid about claim jumpers, which is why he never told anyone where his mine was. But he was also afraid something would happen to him and no one would ever know where it was. So he wrote this letter to his only living relative, Ruth Kensington. Here, take it.
You want me to have it? Why?
Because you found me. See, in that letter, Jake tells Ruth that everything she needs to figure out where his mine is on this train. He also warns her that his wife's spirit is on the train too, which kind of creeps me out. But the thing is, to find Jake's lost mine, we need the train.
How do you know this Ruth person didn't find the mine decades ago?
Mostly because I found that letter in the wastebasket. It was like she'd gotten so ticked off, trying to follow her nutty uncle's clues, that she finally said to heck with the whole thing.
So you want me to try to figure out where the mine is?
Uh-huh. As for the other people on board, if you want to show them that letter, go ahead. It's totally up to you. We're going to Copper Gorge because that's where Jake buried Camille, so I figured his mine might be somewhere around there too. But if you think we need to go somewhere else, you just let me know and I'll have the engineer take us there.
How come you didn't try to find the mine yourself?
Maybe I did. Or maybe I just thought letting other people try to find it would be a good excuse to throw a party. I like parties.
How well do you know your guests?
Well, I don't know you or those Harvey guys at all.
Hardy. Frank and Joe Hardy.
Whatever. I didn't know John Gray before this either, but I love his show, and I figured he'd jump at the chance to investigate an honest-to-goodness haunted train, and now that someone has finally found me, I can finally go meet him for real.
What about Tino Balducci?
I met Tino right after he got famous for solving those robberies. Inviting him here for this was a no-brainer. I mean, what an awesome detective. And those piercing eyes of his, you just know his mind's in there going 90 miles an hour.
How well do you know Charlena Purcell?
I just know her from her books, which are so good. In fact, I just started reading her latest one, The Moon Tells No Lies. See, what I'd really like to do is write romance novels. Everybody who knows me says I'd be really good at it. In fact, a while back, I sent Charlena some ideas, just to see what she thought.
And?
She hated them.
Bye.
As soon as you figure it out, let me know.
The 3rd of November, 1901, from somewhere in Colorado. Dear Ruth, I know that we've never met, but now that your father, my estranged brother, is gone, you are my only living relative. I am writing to you to tell you about my mine before I, too, depart this earth, and its location is lost forever. I cannot tell you outright where it is, lest this epistle fall into the wrong hands, but with the information which follows, and with my train, which shall be yours upon my death, I promise that you'll be able to find it. First, you will need a map. To obtain it, know that my travels have taken me all over this great country, to towns which can be difficult to find, to Calico, Silverado, and Central City, to Dodge City, Virginia City, and Tombstone. To locate the mine on the map, you'll need my projector. When it comes to placing the stones, you'll need to ask someone who holds a warm place in my heart. I have stored his name accordingly, but to retrieve his name, you'll have to give the dolls an order. This will require looking inside Camille's dancing shoes for the name of their maker, and wearing the shoes as you perform her favorite step on the dance floor. As for my beloved Camille, she has 4 words for you, words which, when translated into numbers and used in combination, will help power my projector. But alas, she's taken them with her to her grave. So go to Copper Gorge, Colorado, and pay your respects, and let some of her goodness rub off on you. I promised Camille that this train would always be her home. In return, she promised to never leave, and indeed she never has. People say I'm crazy, but I've seen her, and heard her, and feel her presence on the train even today, 20 years after her untimely death. So above all else, my dear niece, let nothing happen to my train. It holds wonderful things. Kindest regards, Jake Hurley. Looks like a dance floor, maybe? Okay, got my dancing shoes on. Now what? Darn, the name of the shoes is so faded I can't tell what it is. Maybe Bess and George can help me figure out who made them. Locked, naturally. Wonder how you open it. Wonder how you're supposed to get this open.
Hello?
Hi, Beth.
Hey, what's going on?
Lori gave me a letter that Jake Hurley wrote to his niece, telling her how to find his gold mine.
If Lori knows where the mine is, why doesn't she just make a beeline for it?
Because apparently Jake was too paranoid to tell his niece outright where it was. So he filled the letter with all these weird, obscure clues. I don't think Lori could make heads or tails of them. I know I barely can.
Sounds like when he lost his wife, Jake may have lost a few marbles as well.
I get the definite feeling Lori Gerard has a thing for Tino Balducci.
I saw him on TV once. He is very cute.
Lori thinks he's the world's greatest detective.
And you don't?
I think he thinks he is.
I think the only reason he's famous is because he looks good on camera. Well, I think you two are being way too hard on him. Just because he's good looking doesn't mean he can't also be smart. In fact, maybe Balducci tries to look incompetent on purpose. You know, to give the bad guys a false sense of security so it's easier to catch them. Ever think of that? No, Bess, I never did. Well, there you go.
The name of the company that made Jake's wife's dancing shoes is too faded to read. But to find Jake's mine, I need to know what it is.
Hey, I know what you can do. Take a picture of them with your cell phone, then send it to us, and we'll check them out for you.
But I thought you guys had to paint Bess's room.
Boring. Besides, we're going to have to take a break soon because we're almost out of paint. Probably because Bess has gotten more on me than she has on the walls. Anyway, send us a picture of the shoes via cell phone as soon as you can.
Actually, I already sent you a picture of the shoes.
Well then, hey, we're on it.
Ah, you guys are the greatest.
I know. Need anything else?
Talk to you soon.
Remember, when in doubt, call.
I can use this to open that grate I saw in Camille's car. I wonder if this has something to do with that list of cities Jake mentioned in his letter to Ruth. Guess I'm done. Strange. All that's left is a jumble of letters. That must be the projector Jake mentioned in his letter to Ruth. Jake's mine must be somewhere on this map, but where?
Hello?
Me again. Just checking to see whether you were able to find out the name of those dancing shoes yet.
Your wish is our command, but hang on to your hat. The name is a real mouthful. The shoes were made by Chaussettes Chatoyant, Chaussettettes, Chatoyantes. That's French for shimmering socks. Apparently, if you were into dancing in the 1870s, that was the company to get your shoes from.
Chaussettes Chatoyantes. Got it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for letting us help.
Catch you later.
We'll be right here. Yeah, washing the paint out of our hair.